Hello guys, this is single Nomad Millennial where the adventure begins. I want to talk about the that's a reflection I made through 2020. I can tell you this year was fantastic so far. I like I mentioned in the previous video, I was able to move out by myself. So I have my own space, which means a lot of peace and quiet for me. Also, I can appreciate my solitude and self-isolation. uh, what I see, go out on the streets and do long walks, and enjoy the sunshine and the sunset every day. It seems life is quite boring, but it's exciting and interesting. Should live every day by ourselves. Thus, the biggest lesson for me was enjoying every day of my life to the fullest. I have been enjoying every minute of my solitude in this year. I also realized that we are with ourselves 90% of the time. That means that we were born alone and we end alone. Okay. Although learning is an endless journey, it's important to realize that we should be conscious and afraid of our limitations, our skills, and our potential. This is about getting results through a high performance. We need to acknowledge that we reach a peak in our potential, knowledge, and skills at certain moment on our lives. Time goes by, so we too. I also learned about recognizing myself when I look in front of the mirror, who I really am, what are truly my intentions, and what I am capable of. This is important because the the other side of the mirror it's a reflect of who you truly are. Therefore, you cannot deny yourself, even less hide from yourself. It's already there. I acknowledge that it's difficult um, for some of you to have some moments of solitude, or even the fact um, to be alone isn't pleasant. That could be if you are not used to spend lots of time alone. It takes practice and going through lots of experience so you can appreciate being alone while you still have your own social life. regardless of the situation or environment. Besides, you need to find yourself so you can compare yourself from years ago, looking into retrospective the mistakes you made and start to work from there to solve your current problems. That's how you grow, and that's the way that you become an adult. Because remember, adulthood was never meant to be easy for nobody. Okay? It's hard when you live by yourself at the age of 18, or when you go by yourself at 18, 2018, 28, or even in your 30s, because it's not simple. Um, it's okay not to know about everything in life. It's okay to be afraid a lot of what's going on outside when you start to live by yourself. I notice that sometimes I feel kind of like freezing it with everything that's around me. Not only my space, but also outside. So that's what I enjoy a lot. Um, my solitude, so I can aware of myself, a lot of the people around me, and be conscious about the times we are living. When I am outdoors, I realize that I always should appreciate the small things in life. I also discover myself in the process. I found my life quite meaningful once um, visualized my future in solitude. I thought it was going to be difficult to be alone, um, and that I wouldn't make it, but I made it this year. Now I think that my life will be very much easier in the coming years. I will be able to cope with stress and to be under pressure, whether at school or work. Likewise, I could learn about productivity and deep, improve my focus, having a sense of alert, not only about myself but also about my surroundings, and look everything into retrospective and into an open perspective, because the future could be bright or not at all, depending on the people's situation and circumstances. That's why it's important to be so mindful about what's going on around us, so we can refine our judgment and make better decisions in life. Thus, it's not impossible to grow and to go on in life. It's about finding your purpose in life, giving yourself value about what you do, what you think, and motivate about yourself. The self-care principle is the most important for every individual. When you take care about yourself, you focus on yourself, and you learn about yourself, then it's when your self improvement begins, and eventually it will come to fruition because we can make it when you have we have the proper knowledge to achieve our goals in the short and long term. I enjoy being with myself most of the time. I am confident being alone on the street without having any sort of a negative feeling about it because I feel okay going by myself. Um, However, I never stop socializing with people, whether online or outdoors. I always look ways to interact with other people, so I can learn a lot from them too as well. Because we can always learn from others, especially for those people who have more experience than us, who have going through a lot of stuff in life. You can learn a lot from their stories. Just try once to tell someone who you may not know, but this person will tell you lots of amazing stories that you probably have never heard of before, and you might learn something from this person. It's amazing all the valuable lessons that you can learn from this individual. Also, you can make a friend along the way too. It's true that people come and go, but it doesn't mean that you cannot have friends. Absolutely, you still can have friends. You still can be close to your family, especially for those who are still single. Think that it's important to start to leave the past behind and the hard feelings behind and focus on getting closer to your parents if you still can, or your sisters, brothers, or cousins, any close relative for you, so you can keep contact. Also, for those you have friends that you haven't seen for years, reach them out again and see what happens. Probably they will be glad to hear from you, to find out that you are still okay, that you're still alive, um, and you are still there for them. It's amazing to feel that too. There are a lot of challenges ahead when it comes to taking 1 year gap from college and work. It requires to have a lot of savings, to have family support, uh, because their understanding will allow you to take this 1 year gap. And I can tell that I was able to take in this year of my life. I have been able to take 1 year, probably 2.5 year gap from college and work somehow, and before moving out here. So I know what it's like in the early 20s. Now that I take it, Again, that would be my last one to take in my 20s. Um, I was able to acknowledge some mistakes, to solve some of them, and I start to make improvements in my life and to have all my life put together. The only way that I could do it is just move on by myself. Because it's different to have take one year gap from college and work, where you still live with your parents, when to taking one year gap when you live by yourself. It's a complete different. It's a different story. Um, it's a way completely new perspective. Um, Living by yourself rather than living with your roommates or parents. Um, I also was able to spend lots of time alone in my teen years, so I could appreciate more solitude quickly. Um, I come from a family where where my father always worked and I was out of the house most of the time. I also was able to share some weekends with him. Then I we have our differences, so we rarely spend time on weekends or even on December or early January. Those days are long gone. So with my mother, I was able to spend more time in my childhood. Then she started to work outside how the out of the house when I was 10 years old. So things completely changed. I started to realize a little bit I was going to spend a lot more of my time, but I still was able to have my parents at home after 5 or 6 p.m. Uh, and then once I went back from high school, I would have them having the dinner, watching TV. I would have them doing chores around the house. So I have a lot of found the memories about my parents, regardless of the problems, regardless that I many times I I caused them problems as well. Um, I realize those things now that those things will never go back, and now I appreciate them because it allowed me to become the person who I am these days with strong values and principles, with huge understanding about life, about hard work, uh, and about inner self. Um, Also to appreciate my moments of solitude as well. So to spend alone the time, especially in vacations. And then I grew up. Then once my parents um, part ways each other, I lived with my mother afterwards. So and it was completely different scenario as well. That was a period of time that I took on year gap from college and work um, for 2 years and a half, and then it was like, wow, there should be something else to do. You know, I wonder a lot of about myself, about something going on in my country, and about what I could do about my rest of my life. Start to think about the future. However, I wasn't aware that the world was going to come to a lot of changes in the last 6 years. Look at has happened in the last 6 years. A lot of tremendous changes, a lot of events that had a strong impact in our lives, and definitely they have a huge impact in my life. for real. Once I moved out to the States, I that changed my life completely as well, my perspective. To realize that I do have constantly a lot of responsibilities, and then I start to work to make it my day. Um, it's been has year. It has been 5 years since I moved out here. And I have grown a lot since then. I have been making a lot of mistakes. Some of them costly mistakes. That I changed completely my life and my lifetime plans. Now I look things into a different perspective. I am aware about myself, about what's going on in the other's life. Um, and it was for the best that I move out by myself so I can learn what true life is, what being an adult is, what being alone is, especially what is to be a single man without romance and without parents. It's huge difference. This decision was the biggest that I have ever made in my life to move out by myself from another to one state from one state to another one. Also, it was a risky decision because it come with a lot of consequences about it. Um, but I needed to heal myself so that I can face life and can be aware about what to do and how to do things, how to make things better for myself and for everyone around me. Because I don't want to make those mistakes ever again. I don't want to go back the place that I used to be in my life. It was not a nice place to be to begin with. I can tell you, even 5 years ago, I I wouldn't have liked it to be with myself around because I wasn't that kind of man to be around to begin with. And what I mean is, nobody wanted to talk to me in the first place. Um, no, you have a small talk because I was negative all the time. Um, and all of a sudden, once I move out to another country, my life perspective changed once and for all. I never came back to be the same guy. Also, I am a different person that I used to be 1 year ago. When I decided to take this 1 year gap, when I still was living in another state, then once I'm born by myself this year, then I became someone else. Like I am a completely different person. I see life in different perspective. Many times I talk with my mother about this topic. We now have different perspectives about life. We disagree with a lot of stuff, and we see things completely different. Uh, it was kind of breaking apart when I decided to move out by myself because we shared similar points of view even before I left that state for good and decided to move out for never coming back. And nowadays, we're in different directions in life. We have different goals, different perspectives, and I'm happy for her because she was able to move on with her life once I left. I realized that kind of thing. That it was the best for me to move on by myself, so I didn't have to be the with the routine that I used to have with her. Yes, I appreciate all the time that I spent to get with her together, and and I will always have all the lessons, all the battles, all the principles that she taught me were her example. She's an excellent and amazing person. Um, and she has been the best role model that I have ever had in my life, and that I will ever have um, in my entire life. Like I have had mentors along the way, people that I could learn from, but it's a complete different story. They have different traits, they have a different background. That's why I was able to learn a lot from them. But we also disagreeing on a bunch of things at the end, and that's what being human is about: being able to disagree with someone and still learn from it. Um, Also, it's good to have a mind like-minded people along the way, whether online or on the street, so you can learn from that. And I met wonderful people at work, and not so wonderful people there too. And the same thing from college. I made nice acquaintances back then, and I also discovered the other bad faces having acquaintances in college. So I learned from both. Regardless, I also learned from the mistakes, from the bad things that happened to me in the last 5 years. Um, and and finally I move on with my life. Now, when I look in the past, I look at how much I grow, um, how much experience I have gained so far. Now I can more straightforward. I am more likely to share with you my experiences, um, and basically anything regarding about living alone, about being an adult, and still you want to manage with all your emotions along the way, especially as a single man, because um, it's not healthy to be an emotional roller coaster, especially when you are with toxic people around you. Okay, you need to be like-minded people, but also you need to learn to be alone. That you cannot be with people every single day or spending with people all the time. I used to think about um, spending a lot of time with people the whole day and then go home and go to sleep and then repeat the same process all over again. Then I realized that I will always be alone most of my time for the rest of my life. I and I realized that I also realized it that I should get used to that. It's not the simple the thing to do. Um, it's true that I'm interested in wonderful people along the way, but also I need to realize that they will be part of my journey at the beginning, and then once they reach a point in my life, or I reach a point in my life, I should let them go, regardless of the reason, because everyone has made their own journey, and they have to continue to end their journey. Uh, Wherever it leads them. So I cannot emphasize enough about enjoy self-isolation and solitude as well, how you can have peace of mind, because when you're alone you can be um confront yourself through your thoughts. It's a process. When you confront yourself alone, it's complex. I think it's a lot of time to deal with that at the beginning, but then you will get used to that, and that will become part of your routine. So you should be happy about being alone, about enjoying your life, having your own space, having your own privacy. So you can appreciate being with others when you have to, and when you can, because it's good to have the opportunities to be with other people, to talk with other people, whether online or whether in person. But at the same time, you need to have emotional intelligence. So just start being needy or start reaching out for help every time that you get in trouble. Because being an adult many times imply that you are on your own. There will be situations where nobody will save you, that nobody will rescue, and then not everybody will be nice with you. There will be people that will be hostile, the that will confront you for no reason. Um, it's not about having friends and enemies. It's about realizing that people are people, and there are some people that are as nice as we may are. Um, and we have to learn to do it, to deal with those kind of individuals, so we can make better decisions, and we can reduce our mistakes, and we can move forward with our lives without feel any regrets or any, guilt about our actions. If you're going to worry about something, it should be something about you didn't at the moment, or you weren't able to do, and probably you will never be able to do in your life. And I have some regrets about it. Like I think number one, um, not getting financially educated in my teen years or my early 20s. And not having mentors in my early 20s. So I could have reduced lots of mistakes in the process. Now that I made lots of mistakes, I want to share with you those mistakes along the way, so you may not make some mistakes or even worse than mine. You can learn something from it. Remember, you need to build your own experience, specifically life experience. You need to have your own mistakes. You will always make mistakes no matter what. Life will never be easy. Um, and every year has its own challenges, especially the next decade, uh, where the world will be a different set. Everything will be different. We'll embrace the new normal, and will shall should adapt to the new normal. We shall be able to adapt and thrive in the new era, which I call post-globalization or deglobalization era. Um, so it's time to learn from yourself, to learn new skills, to improve your current skills, to master your skills and become an expert in a field that can allow you to work for the next decade, and probably until you can get retired. Also, it's important that if you want to have your own life, you need to work hard, because success comes through going through a lot of pain. Life is painful, but it's also rewarding at the end. So you may want to delay your self gratification. So once you have reached your financial stability, um, then you can accomplish whatever you want. You can achieve very much bigger goals, and you perhaps will have a brighter future ahead of you. That's my self reflection for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.